Are you struggling with maintaining a positive mindset and creating sustainable habits to manage diabetes? Have you tried improving your emotional wellness or sleep, but you don't know where to start? Do you want to learn how physical activity and a strong support system can help reduce insulin resistance and improve your overall health? My name is Gamden, founder of Wellness Impact and host of the Thriving with Diabetes podcast. We empower people with type 2 diabetes to achieve diabetes remission and prevent complications, helping them live healthier, happier, and longer lives. In this episode, Dr. María Colon, a functional integrative medicine physician, joins us. We explore healthy habits, emotional wellness, insulin resistance, and much more. We hope you find this discussion helpful for diabetes, longevity, and overall health. Enjoy this episode and make sure to subscribe and follow us for more expert tips and strategies to thrive with diabetes. Maria, welcome to the Thriving with Diabetes podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here, Gatman. It is my pleasure to be here with you today.
Brilliant. It's our pleasure to have you as a guest on the Thriving with Diabetes podcast. I want to discuss with you mindset and healthy behaviors or habits. And talking about this is very important when it comes to a health condition like diabetes. So can you share how mindset shifts play a role in helping people with diabetes or other health condition?
Yeah, so what I have learned is that a lot of the times we focus on motivation to change. And yes, people do have to have a motivation, ideally a motivation that is more than, I want to, run a marathon or something that is more long-term. But even with that motivating factor, there also needs to be a shift in mindset. And what I mean by that is, I realize that a lot of the times people approach changes in lifestyle behavior as I'm being either punished or I cannot indulge. This is hard, it's going to take time. So they focus almost on the negative aspects of having to make these changes. And there might be a reason why we need to make these changes, but I like to help my patients shift and think, how is this honoring your body? How is this honoring the fact that maybe you want to, at the age of 55 or 60, see your grandkids, walk down the aisle, your daughter. So thinking about really what is your big picture in life and what are your big values? How is it that this is actually beneficial, positive? How can we shift the mindset from feeling that we are restricted, we cannot eat the same, or I need to exercise, I need to do all of these things, that perhaps they might feel that somebody with an X medical condition. In this case, let's talk about high blood sugar. So somebody that has high blood sugar maybe doesn't need to do or doesn't need to pay that much attention. So shifting that mindset from it is my fault, I'm not good enough, restriction, punishment, to a mindset of honoring our bodies, honoring the fact that, hey, I might be different because my sisters do not have high blood sugar or diabetes. And seeing the big picture of this is not only for my blood sugar levels, but how is this going to help me to live, achieve my goals, and how is this truly aligned with my values? I think that that's where the component of mindset really comes in.
Brilliant. Very interesting, and it is a powerful strategy to overcome a health condition. It's not infinite or like a permanent situation where we will stay in, but it's an issue and we need to overcome that issue. The first thing that you mentioned is we need to shift our mindset from blaming ourselves, from restrictions to empowerment. And that sometimes might require someone else to support you. And I know you touch a little bit on motivation. I know motivation is sometimes we need it. It's not like there is no need for motivation, but it has to be part of the process. Usually some people might say it's for beginners, or it's better to move from motivation to discipline, but it's part of the process, and thank you for sharing that. Let's move to the next point. Many people might overlook emotional wellness and sleep, which can affect blood sugar levels and overall health. The question is, how do emotional wellness and sleep quality impact blood sugar control, and what are some practical tips you recommend for improving these areas of health?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And I'm going to separate them: emotional wellness, sleep. So let's talk about sleep first, because I feel that it's a little bit easier. When our bodies do not get enough sleep, and we're talking not only quantity, but also the quality of the sleep, basically what happens is that there is shifts in our hormones. And those hormones start to signal your body things like we're in danger because we cannot rest, we cannot sleep. We need more additional energy because we need to stay up, we're watching TV, whatever it is that you're doing. But when your body gets the signals of I still need to be up, alert, we're still going to do, what your body does is that it tells the organ that is called the liver, hey, we need more energy, we need more sugar. So instead of your body being able to rest, which also means your heart rate, your blood pressure, your blood sugar goes down, right? Like everything is like, okay, rest, calm. Your body stays in this alert, we're still doing, therefore I need energy. So your blood sugar level goes up, not necessarily 400, 500, but it will go up compared to somebody that is able to sleep adequately, because the liver is going to release some of the sugar that it has accumulated there. And these are all hormones, which are like little proteins in the body. They're always talking, they're always signaling, they're the ones telling your body basically what to do, not you.
Before you continue watching or listening to this episode, I want to take a moment to invite you to book a call with me. If you are looking for personalized support to manage diabetes effectively and take control of your health, visit wellnessimpact.org to schedule your call today. Now back to the episode.
So that's one component. The other component is another hormone that is called cortisol also rises in our body because, again, our body needs rest. Our body needs periods of calm. And what cortisol does is that it continues to also tell your body, well, we need additional sugar. We need to stay in alert. And it starts to basically signal your body, we're not resting. That's what these hormones are doing. So because we're not resting, we have to shift what the body is doing so that we can continue to be up, read, watch TV, work. Some people just have night shifts and they work at nighttime. So whatever it is that you need to do. So when it comes to sleep, again, quality, quantity, we always talk about sleep hygiene. And I tell my patients, please tell me what you're doing your last 3 hours of the day. Once you arrive home from work, tell me when you're having dinner, what are you having for dinner? If you're having alcohol or not. I want to know the food that you're eating. Is it spicy? Is it upsetting your stomach? Are you drinking too late at nighttime any sort of fluid? I also want to know, what do you do to prepare your body for sleep? Are you exercising at 8 p.m.? Well, you won't be able to fall asleep naturally at 9 or at 10 because you're exercising your body. So I really look at those last 3 hours and see how that can be optimized. And if sleep hygiene is perfect and people are still having issue, then that's when we can go into other more gentle practices, whether it be a nutraceutical, herb-based, acupuncture, aromatherapy at nighttime, some sort of practice that can help the body naturally fall asleep. And if we need to look to see if there's any other, whether it is mental or health condition affecting their sleep, absolutely, we look into that. Now, when it comes about mental wellness, I think that the important thing to mention is there's different mental health conditions, depression, anxiety, delusional disorders, schizophrenia, ADHD. So all of these in a way need to be treated differently. But let's just talk about overall, how can we take care of our emotional well-being? So when emotionally we are keeping strong emotions on the inside, anger, fear, sadness, when our bodies feel that we are in fight-flight response, trauma, accumulated chronic trauma, we know that these are people that have higher incidence of diabetes, of obesity, autoimmune disease. So we know that this affects, again, how your body works, because it affects your hormones and it affects your neurotransmitter, which again are telling your body what to do. So it's really important as a part of a comprehensive program where you are taking control of your health and it being transformed, that even if you do not have a diagnosis of depression or anxiety, we start to pay attention to how are you feeling during the day, what emotions are coming up, and how are we handling those. Tools that people can use, even if they do not have a mental health diagnosis, or if they do, spending time in nature, making sure that you get that sunlight of the morning, taking some time during the day to pause, disconnect from your electronics, move. right? So we know that movement has multiple health benefits, but one of those is that it will actually positively affect your emotional well-being. Develop a practice of whether it is like breathing or meditation. I love journaling also as a way to process what's going on in your day, in your life. Develop a routine that allows you to develop self-awareness, introspection. I think that that's really important. And then another good marker, an objective marker that is more objective than what is your level of stress is looking at your heart rate variability. So low heart rate variability, that means that something is going on in your body, whether it is emotionally or metabolic, but that emotional component. And what are the things that I can do to maintain good heart rate variability, which basically what that means is your heart is not going to be beating at the same rhythm all the time. Sometimes it will go a little bit faster, other times it will go a little bit slower. So those are things that independently of if you have a mental health diagnosis or not, you can start to do every day. And people always say this takes time. And I think that is evaluating then what are the things that you do every day that perhaps are taking energy and time away from your own health and your own self-care, and then deleting those things.
Brilliant. Very interesting information. I think they are very important topics to talk, and each one will require a separate episode. But what you have done, you just given us an overview about each one, what can cause stress or how it impacts our health. The second one is about sleep. Great, you mentioned that it's not just about the how many hours you sleep, it's about the quality of the sleep. You mentioned preparing for the sleep or the bedtime, and the great, I can say a pro tip here is you have got 3 hours before you sleep and watch what you are eating. And just last point is about stress, how it can, it puts a lot of pressure on our body or on our health that could lead to sort of damage. So it's a serious issue if we neglect it, and one way to manage it is like spending time in nature, going out, walking, doing some physical activity. And about physical activity, this will lead us to the next point, which is about physical activity. And it is a cornerstone of diabetes management. It helps to improve insulin sensitivity and maintain overall health. So the question is, how do you encourage people to stay active, specifically if they find it difficult to integrate exercise in their daily routine? But before that, if you tell them about the exercise, they know, but they don't do it.
Yes. And I think that it depends on the person. I find actually that people struggle more with food than with the exercise fitness component. I think that that's still a bigger struggle and more complicated. So what do I tell my patients? Really, I try to simplify it, which is, one, do what you enjoy. Because reality is they can enroll in a gym, they can say they're going to join a running club, buy a Peloton, and all of these gadgets and tools. But if they're not enjoying it, the probability of them doing it consistently, it's not going to happen. The other thing that I think is really important to assess is, so is this a person that by itself has been more physically active? Even if they're not exercising by a term, because the more sedentary somebody is, the larger their body habitus sometimes, the more inflammation there is in their body. The type of physical activity that they might be able to do without having pain, or the amount, is going to look different. And sometimes it is important for patients to hear, it is okay if you start by not doing HIIT training. Yes, there is evidence that that will positively influence your blood sugar level, but not everybody might be able to start there. The other thing that I think that is very important is, let's look at your schedule. And literally, you sometimes have to help people look at their schedule and see, okay, let's forget about we need to go to the gym, make it complicated, an hour, all of this. Let's just, okay, where do we have 10 minutes, 50 minutes? How can you be more physically active during the day? And that might look parking further away, using the stairs in your daily life. That might also look that if you have the capacity, at least here in the US, they do a lot of those working lunches. So if you have the capacity to speak against that, or make those working lunches just 20 or 30 minutes quick, so that people at lunchtime, they're not again sitting down in front of their computers. I think it is very important. And then look at what do people have access to? And by that I mean, there are certain communities and areas where it's easier to be physically active. You have shorter commutes. So what is it that you can do to maybe also create that more time and that more space so that you can continue to be physically active? Is it that maybe during the week, maybe you just have 15 or 20 minutes each day, but then during the weekend, on a Saturday or on a Sunday, I might have an hour or an hour and a half. So, okay, maybe during the week, Monday through Friday, you're just doing 10, 15 minutes. That's fine. But then let's use this time during the weekend wisely. So I think it's really about helping them, one, do something that they enjoy. Do something that is not leading to pain in their bodies, because if it's leading to pain, they will not do it. 3, helping them literally look at a schedule, make it very easy. How can you just be more physically active? And the other thing that I think that is really important, and sometimes we miss, is how is exercising making you feel in your body? Because we all know that we talk about the runner's high. We all know that exercise is a positive stress in the body. It's like cold plunging. It has an effect in the body that is really positive. So if we start to pay attention to, when I exercise, I feel more energized. I'm able to focus more during the day. I actually have more energy, and I don't have that 3 p.m. crash. Once people also start to pay attention to what they're feeling in their bodies, that by itself will start to signal and reinforce that the positivity of the exercise and of the movement. And again, a lot of the times we need to guide patients through this, and our clients, they might not realize by themselves, but if you start to ask the right questions, then they start to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And I think that that's really important.
Before you continue watching or listening to this episode, I want to take a moment to invite you to book a call with me. If you are looking for personalized support to manage diabetes effectively and take control of your health, visit wellnessimpact.org to schedule your call today. Now back to the episode. Brilliant. Very interesting information. Thank you for sharing that. So we shouldn't look at exercise as a complicated strategy to improve our health, and we can take it the easiest way, like spending a few minutes a day just to move our body. You mentioned when you have a rest at work, maybe you can walk around, try to eat outside if it is possible. And you mentioned a good point here is about having pain. So this could be like a sign. So usually they say listen to your body. So that could be a way to interpret any sign of issues. But overall, it's physical activity is essential. And just I forgot to mention another point. And you said if there is, or if you have a sedentary lifestyle, there is a big chance for inflammation. And when we have inflammation, then that can lead to many health issues. Very interesting point. Let's talk about, I know when we talk about diabetes, insulin resistance is one of the main points that we discuss. So can you explain what insulin resistance is and how lifestyle changes like diet, exercise, stress management, or sleep can help reduce it in people with type 2 diabetes?
Yeah, so the best way that I like to explain insulin resistance in a way that everybody can understand it is, so think of insulin as a car, and it's going to carry the passengers, right? So in every car, there's space for passengers. And in this case, the passengers for this special car called insulin is sugar. And when I'm talking about sugar, what I'm really saying is not that you are going to eat table sugar, but we know that everything that you eat, these macronutrients, your carbs, your fat, your proteins, especially the carbs, when they get broken down into your body, they actually become sugar. And this sugar becomes the passenger, and the sugar needs to make it to the cell, right? So the goal of the car is to drive the sugar, like if you're taking an Uber or a Lyft, to the cells. Because our cells use sugar as the primary way of making energy, which is called ATP. So what happens in insulin resistance is that the car is there, the passengers get inside, but the car cannot move. So something is jamming the gas tank, so we don't have gas in the car, and the car cannot move. It's like we create this really big, in the expressway, right? The cars are like parked. They're not moving. There's traffic jam. So that is basically what's happening in insulin resistance. And then because there is a traffic jam and the cars cannot take the passengers into the cell where the sugar needs to go into the cell, you start to have all of these cars with all of this sugar in your expressway creating a traffic jam. And the way that we see it in the body is your blood sugar goes up, but not only your blood sugar goes up, we know that your triglyceride levels, which is one of the types of fat related to the cholesterol, is also up. So usually we see that people that are having problems with insulin resistance have both high blood sugar, high triglycerides. The other thing that happens is that your insulin level starts to go up. And why is this? Well, think about it this way. You are in a stadium after a concert, and there's all of these people that go out. So again, these are the passengers. There's sugar. So when Lyft and Uber realize, oh my God, we have 50,000 people standing there, what they do is that they start telling the cars, go. Even if people haven't asked for you, even if people haven't clicked on the app, just go and be there and stand there. So the same thing your body is doing. Your body is sensing, oh my God, there's all of these passengers, all of this sugar that we need to try to get them to their destiny, which is the cell. So less and more carbs. So the pancreas starts to tell the body, we need more insulin, we need more insulin, we need more insulin. And basically, you have your blood sugar up, triglyceride levels are usually also elevated, and then you have your insulin level that goes up. We now know that there's other hormones that are involved in this, what we call metabolic dysfunction, which I'm not going to go into, but that's basically the way that I would want people to understand what insulin resistance is and what's going on in the body, and how the body's just trying to do what it needs to do, get the passengers to its destiny.
Brilliant, very interesting, and thank you for sharing that and trying to illustrate the point so people can understand it better. I know many people is aware of or know about having high blood sugar levels, but some of them might not know about insulin resistance. Thank you for sharing that. There is something I want to ask you about, which is having a support system, and whether through family, friends, health professionals, or a coach. So people don't know how important is it to have a sort of supporting system. So if you can give some overview or share the benefit of having a support system so they can overcome a health or health challenges.
Yes. So definitely, the more support you have, the easier it will be for you. And I think that all of them are important, and they play different roles. So one, you're a physician. You do want a physician that understands you, that hears you, that knows what your goals are, and that can help you achieve those goals. Somebody that is more your partner. When it comes to your family, this is one of the areas where I hear a lot of patients, they're not as involved, they don't understand. And I think that we need to do a better work in this area. I think that the family needs to understand, okay, the family member, whether it is mom, dad, one of the kids, these are changes that are happening in their body. It's not their fault. And the reality is that a lot of the things that, let's just say that we're talking about mom, a lot of the things that mom is going to be doing for her health, if we do it for the entire family, they actually will also lead to health for other members. And I think that that is especially true when it comes to food. It's very challenging if you have to cook 2 or 3 menus. It's very challenging if everybody in the family always wants to go and eat out certain foods. Or if you have a family member that is drinking all the time, bringing alcohol to any of the family gatherings. And then also, which I didn't mention with exercise, but I will mention here, any type of physical activity where you can do it as a family, involve the entire family, then it takes some of the burden away of like, oh, it takes time. Well, you're still spending some time with your family. You're doing things that your entire family enjoys. You're spending time with your kids. So let's go ahead and do that. And I feel that one of the areas that we can improve is then bringing in the family members. Bringing the family members to physician's appointment, the coaching appointments. Having perhaps master classes, some type of educational event where we can start to explain to the other family members, this is what's going on, this is what the disease is, this is what it takes, and this is the importance of your role. The more support your family member has, the greater they're going to improve their health. Really, it might sound hard, but it's truly asking, do you want to have your mom there for graduation from college or not? And seeing what people start to respond, because really it comes down to that. So I think that incorporating the family, we still need to do a better job and come up with strategies that allows that to happen so that people feel that they're getting support from their family. In the meantime, I think that joining some sort of support group, support community, where you can get that from other people that are in the same journey, takes the loneliness component away from it. And we know that people with diabetes have greater incidence of depression, and specifically about that component of loneliness. I'm alone. Nobody understands me. Nobody knows how hard it is. And then definitely a health coach, I think that is important, part of the team. And this is the reason why. So all of these changes in lifestyle, changes in mindset, changes in understanding, even your journey. And what I mean by this is, so a woman that has menopause with diabetes, because of the estrogen component, is going to need a little bit of a different, not necessarily even treatment, but also support, because we might not be able to change the fact that now there's estrogen decline. Is going to look very different than a woman that is in her 35s. So I think that having a health coach that can tailor things to, okay, this is where we are in our stage of life. What are we going to do differently? How can we overcome the obstacles? Because the human mind always goes into the obstacles and the negative. So we need that person that is going to drift us into, we're going to continue in the journey, and how can we move forward? And what is it that we need to grieve about this medical condition that is not permanent, but that we do need to do things to keep us in that place of it not becoming permanent.
Brilliant. Very interesting. Thank you for sharing that information. Just to highlight 2 points here is, when you're having for the food, or when you prepare for the meals, sometimes you end up preparing 3 or 4 meals. That is one thing. The second thing is joining a support group, because when you join a group with the same health condition, so they understand what it means, what you go through, the complications, the difficulties. So it's very important to try joining a support group, plus finding a support from a family or family members, and working with a coach. That is very important. I have got another question before we finish this episode. What inspiring message or advice would you like to leave with our viewers and listeners to motivate or help them on their health journey?
Yeah, so I want to say high blood sugar level, insulin resistance is not an illness for life. Sometimes we do hear that. You can live without chasing your blood sugar numbers the entire day. Yet you will need, especially if you have the predisposition, like me, I'm Hispanic, I'm Latina, but you will need to then learn how to take care of yourself in a very different way. And in that process, really see it more as honoring your body, honoring that you're different. And then instead of seeing it from that restriction and punishment, really change again the mindset and shift and start looking at it as something positive and as a blessing where you get to take care of your body in a very special and unique way.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing your inspiring message. Where can people reach you or learn more about your work?
Yeah, so they can follow me on social media at saludRevisited, and that's SaludRevisited. Or they can just go directly to my website, www.saludrevisited.com. And again, Salud Revisited is SaludRevisited.com.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing your contact information. People can find your links either to your website, or a social media in the show notes. Just they need to expand the show notes and click the link to access her website. That brings us to the end of this episode. A big thank you to our guest, Dr. Maria, for sharing her expertise and time with us today, and to all of you, our viewers and listeners, for turning in. If you need additional guidance, you can book a call at wellnessimpact.org. If you found today's episode valuable, I invite you to join our thriving community and subscribe or follow us for more insights and tips. Thanks again, Dr. Maria, and thank you everyone for being a part of this journey. Until next time, take care of your health and keep thriving.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.